Culiacan, Sinaloa, 1954. The air heavy with dust and the scent of wet earth after a rare summer rain. Here, life was measured in pesos and promises, most of them broken. Ignacio Coronel Villarreal was born into a Mexico still struggling to find its balance between law and lawlessness. His family wasn't rich, but they weren't starving. They lived quietly, away from the violent flashpoints of the city, yet close enough to hear the echoes when gunfire rolled through the streets. From an early age, Ignacio was different from the other boys. They played in the dirt, throwing stones and chasing each other through the mango groves. He sat on a wooden stool, counting coins from his father's small store, memorizing how much was spent and how much was missing. Numbers made sense. People, less so. Teachers remembered him as polite, reserved, and distant. He wasn't the troublemaker, and he wasn't the star student. He was the boy who never made noise, never drew attention. And in Sinaloa, invisibility was a skill worth more than gold. While others dreamed of escape, crossing the border, chasing the American promise, Ignacio learned another truth. Money was a passport all on its own, and in a place where bullets often traveled faster than opportunity, the man who controlled the money controlled the future. He didn't yet know it, but the ledgers he kept for his father's shop were training him for a much deadlier balance sheet. By the late 1980s, Sinaloa was shifting. The plazas, the trafficking corridors, were being fought over like oil fields. Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo's network was fracturing after his arrest. Old alliances were breaking. New kings were rising. Among them was Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Brash, calculating, a man who needed not just soldiers, but someone who could keep the river of drug money flowing without drawing the eyes of the state. This is where Ignacio's quiet genius found its place. He had no tattoos, no gold chains, no flashy cars. You could pass him on the street and never know you'd just brush shoulders with one of the most important men in the Mexican underworld. Through a web of shell companies, fake import-export businesses, and carefully timed bank deposits, he turned dirty millions into clean fortunes. Hotels in Guadalajara, ranches in Jalisco, warehouses in Sinaloa. He made money vanish from police ledgers and reappear in cartel hands without a trace. If El Chapo was the general commanding armies, Nacho was the banker ensuring the war never ran out of bullets. And in the cartel world, the man who can make money appear out of thin air is untouchable, until he isn't. The 1990s brought a shift in the drug trade. Colombian cartels, under pressure from U.S. and South American forces, began to cede ground in cocaine smuggling. But a new market was exploding: methamphetamine. Ignacio saw what others didn't. Meth wasn't bound by harvest seasons like marijuana. It didn't depend on coca plants in distant jungles. It could be made anywhere, if you had the chemicals, the labs, and the distribution. And Ignacio built it like an engineer. Labs deep in the mountains of Durango and Jalisco, hidden under tin roofs and guarded by men with rifles. Trucks disguised as livestock haulers, routes that bypassed the most guarded checkpoints. In the U.S., the product was pure and potent. Addicts called it ice. Dealers called it gold. And the man at the top became El Rey del Cristal, the king of crystal. Despite his wealth, Ignacio avoided the spotlight. He didn't parade with beauty queens or flaunt sports cars. He preferred modest houses in quiet suburbs, Sunday dinners with family, and neighbors who would swear they'd never seen anything suspicious. But in the underworld, success breeds enemies faster than loyalty. And Ignacio's empire was growing too big, too fast for comfort. By 2010, the Mexican government's war on the cartels was in full swing. President Felipe Calderón had unleashed thousands of soldiers into the streets. Cities turned into battlefields. The army hit warehouses, raided labs, and seized shipments. For every bust, a name was whispered, and Ignacio's came up too often to ignore. Authorities traced money back to his network. Allies were arrested. Some flipped to save themselves. Each arrest pulled at a loose thread, and the fabric of his financial empire began to fray. Even inside the Sinaloa Cartel, pressure mounted. Rivals questioned whether the silent accountant could still move money like before. And in the cartel world, doubt is dangerous. When you control the flow of millions, everyone watches you, friends and enemies alike. July 29, 2010, Zapopan, Jalisco. A wealthy neighborhood where mansions hide behind palm-lined walls and electric gates. At dawn, Mexican soldiers surrounded Ignacio's safe house. Black-clad commandos moved in, helicopters thumped above. What happened next depends on who you ask. The official story says Ignacio opened fire, refusing to be taken alive. Neighbors recall a storm of gunfire, windows shattering, walls splintering under bullets. Others whisper that he never fired a shot, that he was executed in cold blood. Either way, when the smoke cleared, Ignacio Coronel Villarreal lay dead. The King of Crystal's reign had ended, not with an arrest, but with a body on the floor. Ignacio's death didn't break the Sinaloa Cartel. If anything, it proved the machine could keep running without its parts. Others took over the meth trade. The money kept flowing, but his methods, the laundering routes, the shell companies, the discipline, remained part of the cartel's DNA. Unlike El Chapo or other cartel bosses, Nacho left no folk songs, no statues, no cult of personality. His legend is quieter, hidden in the way the cartel still moves money today. To the public, he's a footnote in the pill war. To those in the business, he's a blueprint. He built an empire with calculators and cash. But in Mexico's drug war, even bankers bleed.